guys, welcome to another Mind Right Monday. I'm Bonnie Kelly, and today we are talking about how you cannot get sucked into other people's drama. Hey guys, welcome back to another Mind Right Monday. Today's video is brought to you by another viewer just like you. And it's asked us like, okay Bonnie, how can I not get sucked into other people's drama? How is it that how do you deal with people who are making mountains out of a molehill? Well, I'm here to address that question today and give you some tips on how you cannot get sucked into that drama. So first, we need to lay a foundation. We have some ground rules around other people's drama that you, as a personal dev, self-aware junkie, need to know. Number one, you can't control other people's crazy. Let's be real. So when they're making mountains out of molehills, there's not much you can do to change their behavior unless they want to change their behavior. So it's important to recognize when we're talking about how you deal with this is to really, how do I get more in alignment where this doesn't affect me? That's a little bit more in alignment with what we need to be thinking about. Okay, so now that we've got that foundation, let's talk about some really cool strategies on how you cannot get sucked in when they do make some big mountains out of itty bitty little molehills. And the first suggestion is, look within. In what ways are you getting sucked into this drama? All right, as I mentioned, we can't do much about other people's choices. We can influence others' choices, but we can't control them. So of course, being the personal development coach that I am, I'm gonna ask you why you're getting sucked in the first place. What part of yourself is either relating, judging, or connecting, or being triggered by this person's stuff? So when we begin to ask ourselves that, we can understand ourselves on a deeper, more emotionally intelligent level. By doing that, it allows you to begin to shine lights on areas in your personal development that need improvement. So ask yourself, why are you getting sucked in? What part of you is participating in this drama? Now, once you're able to understand that, then you can start asking yourself, what do you need to do to change that element or perception of yourself? All right, so that's the first one. It really is just more of a mental kind of like mastery, figuring out how you're participating, how this is affecting you, why it's affecting you, so you can begin to simmer down. All right, next one is, don't take it personal. This issue isn't about you, even if it involves you. I think this is another really important part. Is more often than not, we get sucked into other people's drama, especially if they're trying to involve us in that drama. Now, the biggest thing here, and I'm sure you've heard this before, is learning not to take things so personal. Recognizing that other people are having their own experiences. They're having their own perceptions. They're having their own issue that's separate from you, even when they're projecting it upon you. It's important as a personal development student of life to be able to separate these things and recognize that they're having their own unique experience. That means that their old histories, their emotional baggage, their past traumas, their emotional triggers, their belief systems, all of these things are flared up. And that's what's causing them to start projecting outwards. Now, it also could be that they're in a place of needing to fight, flight, or freeze. Their protection mechanisms kicked up and they're defending and trying to protect their honor or their opinions because they're so afraid of being wrong. Or they're afraid of just being rejected and they're just trying to create a sense of importance. Another reason why people get sucked into, or why people create drama is because a lot of times it does fuel or feed their self-worth or their own personal sense of belonging. Now, I know that that's coming from a real low emotional intelligence set point, and I understand that. And what we, meaning you and I, need to really acknowledge that there's a lot of people out in the world that don't have the personal insight, awareness, and skills to be able to separate their worth from the drama. So we have to begin to not take it so personally. That other person just might not know better or might be ignorant to the fact that they even have a choice in this drama. By doing this, it allows us to step into having more compassion and understanding. Now, having compassion and understanding does not mean making their behavior acceptable. Remember, you can excuse yourself at any point if their drama is starting to affect your life too much. And this is going to lead me to my third and final tip, which is acknowledge and shift your communication style. Now, this last tip is going to really involve them a little bit more in the process as well. One of the reasons why I wanted to add the first two steps in being your own personal insight, depersonalizing, separating yourself, because that really is how you're going to not get sucked into other people's drama, is by getting your mind right. Now, the other side of that, though, is how do you communicate with someone who's like this? Maybe it's a child, maybe it's a colleague, maybe it's someone that you really are going to be interacting with. Well, this is why I wanted to add this third tip, is to change the communication style between you and them so you might have more success with wherever they're at. Now, here's how we're going to do that. Number one is you have to acknowledge where they're at and what they feel. I know. That can be tricky, especially if you don't agree with they're crazy, or you don't agree with the fact that whatever they're making into such a big deal is really that big of a deal. However, when you don't acknowledge someone for what they feel and you don't acknowledge them for where they're at, they're going to immediately go on the defense because they're going to feel wrong. So to bypass more drama that can get brought up, it's important to say it's understandable that you feel that way. I'm not saying I agree with what you feel, right? You don't have to add that part. We're just acknowledging, I can understand why you feel that way. That seems very difficult. Now, that's just the first part, making them feel like, okay, I've heard you, I understand what you're going through. That seems very difficult. Now, the second part is where we begin to shift up. Now, remember, here's another big disclaimer. You cannot control what they choose to do with the information provided, and you are not here to fix anyone, okay? So with that being said, you're going to just offer a question to give them an opportunity to shift. Be mindful not to give people advice. They might not want your advice unless they ask, how do I handle this, or what do I do? Now that's an invitation for you to tell them, well, I would do blah, blah, blah. If they're not coming from that space where they're just emotionally vomiting, after you acknowledge, it's understandable you feel that way, you can then immediately go into, well, what choices do you have available? What do you think you could do about this situation? What do you feel is the next best step? Now you're pivoting the conversation towards solutions, and you're pivoting towards a choice. If they say, oh, nothing, it's all worthless, woe is me, and some people are going to go that way, they might still be in that state. And then I would go, oh, well, that's understandable. Well, why don't you sit on it for a minute and let's try to focus on solutions later. Now you've given yourself the perfect out to let them process through whatever they're going through, and next time you communicate, to focus on a direction you want to go. All right, hopefully this video has helped in some way this week, and I have an awesome tweetable that goes with it. Other people's drama is other people's drama. Have understanding, but don't feel the need to get roped in. All right, hopefully you enjoyed this week's video. As I promised, this video was brought to you from a question from a viewer like you. And if you have a personal development question, make sure to email us at getinspired@bonniekelly.me. And don't forget, you can find us on all social media platforms, so you can tweet, friend, fan, follow, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss out on an awesome personal development tip we deliver weekly. All right, guys, till next week, don't forget, we're here every step of the way.